My name is Sashen Naidu. Welcome to a beautiful lesson today. We're presenting mathematical literacy, grade 10. And the topic for today is classifying and collecting data. If you look at the first slide that I've prepared for you guys, did you know that the percentage of people using social media monthly, and what I've done is I've put together a pie chart, and we'll get to pie charts a bit later if you haven't recognized this. And the pie chart there is showing all the data that I found regarding social media and how often people use it. I know some of you might have social media sites, others of you might not. Personally, I don't have one, and it's nothing wrong with that. But if you look at the most common social media platform right now, and that's Facebook at 34%, YouTube is second at 26%. And I see that there's a lot of YouTube videos being presented now, especially for children and stuff like that. So it's definitely a platform that is being used more and more and more. Instagram there and Twitter at 3%. And I know there was a lot of talk these days around Twitter and Elon Musk and his takeover of that. So that's also in the news. Now the question becomes, how do we get all of this data and where does all of this data come from? And hopefully as this lesson progresses and as the topic of data handling unfolds, you guys will be able to see how these questions come about, and from the question, where do we pull the data from, what methods we use, etc., etc. Let's go on to the next slide. There we are. Lesson objectives. By the end of the lesson, you should be able to differentiate between population and sample. Now, I know these words might seem unfamiliar to you, but we'll get to the definitions later as we progress. Identify the instrument of collecting data, categorize data into quantitative and qualitative. Categorize, I see the spelling there's off again. Just have to change that one. Qualitative, there we go. Try and write that. Categorize numerical data into discrete and continuous. Complete a frequency table and answer questions based on tally and frequency tables. Now, there's a word you might have recognized, tally, but we'll get to that a bit later. Let's go to the next slide. We start with the data handling cycle. And if you look at this, if you see the arrows, you'll notice that it seems like it's continuing all the time and it doesn't stop. And that's just how the cycle works. Being a cycle, it almost works like a circle. And what we're trying to say there is, sometimes in the data handling process, and as you go through it, you come across more questions that needs analyzing and developing and stuff like that. So the cycle almost doesn't end. We start off with the plan part now. And that's where we're looking at initially. There, we go from the plan. From the plan, you then head up into the develop research question. And that is basically, what are we trying to do with our data? Where does it come from? Why do we need to do it? And then from there, we go into summarize, represent, and analyze data, and that's the collection phase and how we go about it from there. We then lead on to the classify and organize phase, and lastly, you move into the collect phase. And then again, like I said, the cycle will repeat itself if need be. And that's just about how things will develop as my lesson goes along. I'm going to start at one point, and we're going to try and get around until we get back to the starting point. The concept map, there you go. These are the topics that I will be covering today. And we start off there, again, developing questions, and we'll follow my cycle, collecting data, classifying data, and organizing data to end things off. Let's talk pre-knowledge. And pre-knowledge is stuff that I assume you guys know. I hope you guys know. If not, hopefully this jogs your memories, brings everything back in, or teaches it to you. Let's see what we need to look at. You should be able to draw tally tables, there's that word, and group data into intervals. Now, a tally table. To represent that, if you look here at the bottom, just going to circle that or ring that for you guys. There it is. That's what the tally table looks like. And if you remember it, that's nice. But like I said, I'm going to talk to you guys about it now. It's a representation of things using pictures. And you'll see what I mean by that in a second. We start with 10 people were asked what chocolate bars they prefer. Their results are given below. And looking at it, in the spec here, there we are. All right, you've got the data, you've got the data that we need to analyze. So you've got chocolate 1, chocolate 2, chocolate 2, chocolate 3, etc., etc. So that's what the responses of 10 people were. And if we need to take all of that data and represent it on the tally table, here's what we need to do. We start with chocolate 1, chocolate 2, chocolate 3. Those are the headings of all of the chocolates that were our choices. Let me just get that back. There we are. So here's what I like to do, and I like to work with a pencil in these situations. If pen is fine as well, it really doesn't matter. Because a pencil we can always erase, that's why I like the pencil. So let's start at a point. Chocolate 1, there it is. Scratch it off to say that I've done with it. And where do I find chocolate 1 on my tally table? Right there, I put a little stroke down like that. The next thing, let's work downwards. Chocolate 2, scratch that one off. Where do I find chocolate 2? Right here. There we go, chocolate 2, put that line in there. Chocolate 2 again, right at the top, it goes next to it, meaning we've got 2 of them. Chocolate 3, that's a new one, the last one, there it is. Chocolate 2 again, scratch that off, yes, chocolate 2. Chocolate 2 again, there you go. Another person prefers chocolate 2. I'm writing it down there. Do you see what I mean by these are not really numbers? They're more like strokes that we're drawing. They're not number ones. We then have chocolate 1, scratch that guy off. There he is there. Chocolate 3, his friend down here. Chocolate 3 again, one more time right there. And finally chocolate 2. Now, when we have groups of 5, currently we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 of them. We now have another chocolate 2. That is almost a stroke like that to scratch it off, to say that we're grouping them in 5s. That's the importance of this. So looking at that, it's easy to count. When you see that grouping with the strike, you know immediately there's 5 of them. And there we go. We've completed the tally table. Hopefully, like I said, you've learned that again, or it's bringing back your memory. Let's go to the next one. Draw a tally table from the data below using intervals of 5. All right, so intervals of 5 spaces, and you'll see what I mean by that in a second. Let's just go on there. So what I've done again is I've completed the class interval column for you and the tally. Now notice the difference here. Here I'm talking class interval. With the previous one, if I just bring that up again, with the previous one, we just had the name of chocolates. So the link here now is, if there's chocolates alone, that's what we're dealing with. But because the next one, this tally table, had numbers, 12, 13, 19, 25, etc., we then say we break them up into intervals. For our case, we're using intervals of 5. So there's my first interval I chose, from 1 to 5. Because again, if you count it on your fingers, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then the next interval, 6 to 10, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Do you see that? Still 5 numbers. And that's where we get the intervals of 5 from. So 11 to 15, same principle, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. All right, let's finish this guy off. So the first number I have is a 12. There it is, 12 fits in there. I've got 13, 13 fits in here. I've got 19, 19 should fit in there. Let's get that stroke there. 25, right here. 2, right there, just like we did before with the chocolates. This time, though, we have numbers. 30, there's a 30, and the last one has a 30. The 25 here will fit in there. The 20 here fits in there. The 8, right here. A 6, right here. 16, there we go. Where is 16? Right there. Then I've got a 22. And lastly, the 24. There we go. And we've completed that tally table. All right, everyone. Hopefully, tally tables came back to you guys. Hopefully, you learned something. If it didn't come back to you, let's now go on to new words and language. So, bias. Bias is when we pick our sample without taking all factors into account. Categorical data, that is data in the form of words, names, or labels. Continuous data, that is data that is usually in the form of decimals and fractions. Aha. Discrete data, data that can only have certain values, and those are usually whole numbers. So a bit of maths there. Let's go to the next one. Frequency table, there you go, there's that word, frequency. Shows a list of categories or groups of things together with the number of times the items occur. An interview is data collection done by talking to people and collecting their responses. Numerical data is data in the form of numbers. Observation, that's data collection done by watching and recording results. Let's see what else we have here. We have got population, the entire group that is affected by the data handling process, everybody. The questionnaire, a set of questions that can be used for data collection. Raw data, information that has been collected before any analysis has been done. And the sample, the smaller representation of the population that data can be collected and analyzed. All right, everyone, I think I've been talking to you guys for a bit too long there. I think maybe you need a break. Let's take a short break. When we get back, we'll pick up where I left off. Thank you.